Okay. Let's read another chapter. Hello everyone, I'm Luitas Montes, and in this video I'm going to read the chapter number 3 of this book. Of course, the name of this book is as you are watching, Officially Dead, Richard Prescott. And let's go direct to the chapter 3, the plan. If you can remember, I have to put some zoom here. As you can remember, in the chapter 2, Linda set an appointment. No, Linda wanted to see Colin Fenton again, as in the first chapter. And the company is in a bad situation, in a bad economic situation. So let's see what happened in this one. Let's go direct to the chapter number 3. Here we are. Some zoom. I hope you are watching this okay. Let's move this in this place. Chapter 3, the plan. Linda Bentley was 33 years old, and she was good looking. She was used to getting what she wanted. She had made an important decision very early in his life. Since there was no one to look after her, she will make sure that she looked after herself. Linda had been born in Glasgow, the largest city in Scotland. She had no brothers or sister, and she didn't know who her father was until she was 12. Linda had lived with her mother in a damp, dark flat. The flat had a bedroom, which was the living room too, a small kitchen, and a bathroom. Linda's mother usually went out in the evenings, leaving her alone. Sometimes her mother brought men home with her, and then she told Linda to sleep on the floor in the kitchen. When she was 12, Linda's mother disappeared, and after that, Linda never saw her again. She didn't know where her mother had gone or what had happened to her, and she didn't care. An aunt and uncle took Linda into their home, and they tried to love her and care for her. But the girl no longer understood what love was. As soon as she was 18 years old, she left Glasgow and went south to London. She found a job in a pub called the Red Lion in Ilford, in East London. That was where she met John Bentley. John was a likable young man and a good-looking one. He was an orphan, so he and Linda had something in common. But Linda had learned to look after herself, and John had not. So Linda tried to look after him. He was working as a lorry driver at that time, and he always seemed to have plenty of money. He spent a lot of it on presents for Linda. She enjoyed getting the present, and she didn't ask where the money came from. A year after their first meeting, John and Linda got married. When, a few months later, John was sent to prison, Linda found out where his money had been coming from. Now she was alone in London, but there was no point in going back to Glasgow. Her aunt and uncle had moved to Spain, so Linda decided to stay in London and wait for John. But she needed a change, so she started looking for a new job. She soon found one in a large jewelry store in a fashionable part of London. The shop was called Sandalwell's. Linda's job there was much better paid than the work in the pub, and it was much more pleasant too. When John Bentley came out of prison, he was determined to stay away from his old friends. He decided to go straight. He had hated being locked in a cell for most of each day, and he didn't want to go back to prison. Linda persuaded Mr. Rose, the manager, and Sandal and Sandwells to give her husband a job. The manager knew about John's time in prison, but he gave the young man a chance to live an honest life. Later that year, John and Linda moved into the small rented house near Brentwood, where they still live. Early one evening, a few weeks after she had sent the letter to Collier, Linda Bentley was in her kitchen, preparing a meal. As she put some fish into a large pan, her mobile phone began to ring. She quickly wiped her hands and put the phone to her ear. John was in the living room watching television. He couldn't hear Linda's conversation. "So, you'll be in Redwood next week?" Linda said. "That's great, Colin. How long will you be staying?" "Two nights," Colin said. "We could meet on Wednesday or Thursday evening." Linda thought for a moment. "Wednesday will be best for me," she said. Can meet in the same pub at around 6:30? Then later you can come here for a meal with us." "Yes, that's fine. I will see you next Wednesday then," Colin said. Linda switched her phone off and put it on her handbag. She smiled to herself. Wednesday was certainly the best day for what she had in mind. John would be away from home that night. Soon the fish was ready. Linda switched off the cooker and turned around with the pan in her hand. John was standing in the kitchen doorway. "I hear your phone ring," he said. "Who were you talking to?" "No one," Linda replied. "Somebody called a wrong number." She lifted the pieces of fish onto two plates and added some vegetables. "Sit down and eat this while it's hot," she said. On the evening of the following Tuesday, Colin Fenton left his home in Bath and traveled to Brentwood. He booked into the same hotel, ready to start work early in the morning. The next evening, after a day spent with the administrative staff at Sutton Chemicals, he was beginning to regret his agreement to meet the Bentleys. He was tired, and he decided to phone them to say he couldn't meet them after all. But when he looked at his watch, he saw that it was too late. It was almost 6 o'clock already, and he had agreed to meet his friend at the pub at 6:30. He would have to go to the pub, eat his meal, and at their home as quickly as he could, and leave early. This time the pub wasn't crowded. There was no football on television, and the bar was nearly empty. A few people were sitting at the tables, drinking and talking. Linda Bentley was waiting for him, sitting on her own at a table in the corner. She had a glass of orange juice in front of her. Colin walked across the room towards her. She stood up and shook his hand. "Hello," she said. "I'm glad you could come." She was wearing a black dress made of shiny material. It was tight-fitting and very short. "It's good to see you, Linda," Colin said. "Can I get you another drink?" "No, it's okay, thanks. I haven't finished this yet," she replied, touching her glass. "What about you, John?" Colin said. "What about John?" Colin said, looking round the room. "Where is he?" "I'm afraid It's just you and me tonight, Linda said. John can't come. He has driven his van to Liverpool with some mates. Liverpool? Colin said, surprised. Yes, they gone to a football match, Linda replied. John's football mad. He supports West Ham United. He goes to watch all their matches. West Ham are playing Liverpool Football Club tonight. You should have sent me a message, Colin said. We could have met another time. Linda smiled at him. I wanted to see you tonight, John. Go and get yourself a drink, she said. After a few drinks, they left the pub and Linda drove them back to her house in her red Ford Escort. Everything was ready for dinner. There was a small vase of flour in the middle of the table and a glass bowl full of water on which candles floated. While Linda finished preparing the food, Colin looked at the framed photographs on the sideboard in the living room. There were mostly pictures of John and Linda on holiday in various places, but one photograph showed an elderly couple sitting in a sunny Mediterranean garden. Colin picked it up and looked at it. Linda came into the room carrying a tray of pasta and salad. Colin pointed to the photo. Your parents? He asked. No, my aunt and uncle, Linda replied. But they were like parents to me. They looked after me when I was a teenager in Glasgow. My uncle is dead now, but my aunt still lives in Spain. It's too cold and wet for her in Scotland. Do you see your aunt often? Asked Colin. No, I haven't seen her for years. John doesn't like the heat in Spain, Linda replied, laughing. But we might go to see her soon. They spent the next couple of hours eating, laughing, and getting to know each other. Colin was soon feeling much better, and he was glad that he had come. Suddenly, he found himself looking straight into Linda's large green eyes. She smiled at him and looked down at the table, pretending to be embarrassed. It was late when they finished their meal. Then they sat in armchairs, drinking coffee. After the second cup, Linda leaned back in her chair and said calmly, Colin, do you want to earn 10,000 for one evening's easy work? This simple question took Colin completely by surprise. He'd been expecting a proposal, but a very different one. He laughed. I don't buy lottery tickets, he said. I'm serious, Colin, Linda said. I'm not talking about buying lottery tickets. She got up and came to sit on the floor next to his chair. She smiled at him and touched his hand. I'm talking about 10,000 in cash. It's yours, if you want. You can see the photograph. Colin sat up straight and removed Linda's hand from his own hand. What's going on? He said nervously. What do you want from me? Nothing, Colin, she said quickly. I was joking. She stood up. Let's have some more coffee. You weren't joking, Colin said. You'll better tell me what this is about. You're right. I wasn't joking, you replied. But I'm not sure that I should tell you. Perhaps I made a mistake. Colin finished his coffee and stood up. Okay, you'll better take me back to my hotel, he said. It's really, it really is late. It's past midnight. Colin got up and went into the hall to get his coat. When he came back into the living room, Linda Bentley's eyes were wet and tears were running down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Colin, she said. She cried quietly. Colin put his arm around her and held her for a moment. Then he kissed the tears on her cheeks and stroked her hair. It's all right, Linda, he said. Linda stopped crying and pulled herself away from him. You must think I'm very stupid, she said. I'll get my coat and take you back to your hotel. I'm so sorry I spoiled a lovely evening. She went into the hall and took her coat from a cupboard. Colin followed her. When she turned around, Colin was right behind her. He took the coat from her and dropped it on the floor. She looked at him, her eyes wide open. Colin held her arms, pulled her very close to him, and kissed her on the mouth. You can take me back to the hotel early tomorrow morning, he said. The evening's not spoiled at all. Early next morning, Colin and Linda had some coffee and toast together. Then Linda drove Colin back to his hotel. It was only 7:15 and the roads were clear. It was a cold, sunny morning. They talked about what each of them was going to do during the day, but they both knew they were avoiding talking about the previous night. Suddenly, they both became silent. Colin stared out of the window. They were driving past trees that were white with frost. Colin turned and looked at Linda. At last, Linda smiled at him and spoke. What are you thinking about, Colin? She asked. It was a strange evening, wasn't it? He replied. Linda nodded. You didn't plan it at all, didn't you? Colin said. Do you mind if I did? She asked. Colin thought for a moment. No, I don't think I do, he said. Then he added, and what about the 10,000 euros? You were serious about that, weren't you? They had reached Colin's hotel. Linda drove onto the car park and switched off the car engine. My husband is going to need an alibi, she said. You can provide one of him. It's as simple as that. What do you mean? You and John are identical. All you have to do is pretend to be John for a night. While John does a robbery, am I right? Right. What is he going to steal? I can't tell you that. Linda, I need to know, Colin said. It won't be an armed robbery, will it? Nobody will carry a gun. No one will get killed or hurt, Colin. What's the plan? Colin asked. Is John going to rob a bank? No, Linda said. And you don't need to know any more about it. Yes, I do, Linda, Colin insisted. I have to know what risk I'll be taking. I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I don't want to spend years of my life in prison. Linda thought for a moment. All right, Colin, she said. I will tell you the plan. John and I work in a jewelry store. They know all about the security system there. John will be able to get inside the job at night without setting off the alarm. He'll be smash. He will smash a window and set off the alarm as he's leaving. We hope that the police will think it's an ordinary break-in, but John has a criminal record, and the police might suspect him if he doesn't have an alibi. He will need a really good alibi. You can provide him with it. I understand, Colin said. When do you plan to do this? We haven't chosen a date yet. We can make our plans fit with yours, Linda replied. You travel a lot because of your work, you told us that. One day, when you are somewhere a long way from London, you can stay in a hotel using John's name. That will give John a perfect alibi, and only the three of us will ever know how the robbery was done. You've planned this all very carefully, haven't you? When I want something, I make sure I get it, Linda said. Colin thought about the previous evening. Yes, you do. He agreed in a cold voice. What about the money? 10,000. We can pay you a few thousand in advance, Linda said. You will get the rest soon after the robbery. I might be able to help you, but I need some time to think about this, said Colin. Okay, Linda said. You've got my phone number. I'll be in touch, said Colin. He got out of the car and watched Linda drive away. Then he went into his room to get the things he needed for his day at Sutton Chemicals. And that is how the chapter number 3 ends. An incredible chapter. A lot of things happen. And let's see in the following ones what happened with this plan. What happened with Colin? Is he really going to do this for to save the company? I don't know. We will see this soon. Have a nice day.